Welcome to the Research Works podcast, brought to you in association with the Healthy Strides Foundation. Your hosts are Dr. Dana Poole
and Dr. Ashley Thornton, and we're here to interview world-leading researchers, clinicians and people with lived experience
to support your practice in being more evidence-based.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the second half of our season here at Research Works. I hope you've all had a chance to catch up on what is now quite an extensive back catalogue of conference episodes from EACD in Heidelberg. Dana, you have been very busy.
Oh my goodness, it was really busy. There are 30 episodes. That's right, 30 episodes. We didn't plan on doing quite so many and we had some pre-planned, but there were just also a lot of people we just go, oh, that was really good. Oh, that was really good. Quick, come on.
Yeah.
It was just so wonderful to speak to so many passionate people who just love their area and just invested into it. And, it's incredibly inspiring to be part of something like that. Yeah. And the other thing that we had within all of that as well is we had this incredible opportunity to launch our Research Works Academy. We've sort of hinted at it along the way through all of this season. People have been asking us to go, how can we do courses? Where can I find resources to make all the stuff we talk about really practical? So for those who are not aware, we thought we'll take on the challenge and extend what we do in the podcast and created an online platform. So it was developed by clinicians and researchers for clinicians and researchers, and it's called the Research Works Academy. So we got to launch at EACD and it has had such a great response. It's in its beta testing phase at the moment. People are sort of looking through and looking at some of our resources like the goal attainment scale template where we've integrated AI into there to help you write them, clinical decision trees. There's a chat there with all of our work as well that you can find.
Yep.
Outcome measures hubs and courses will be coming soon as well. So for all of those who've been using it, I hope you've been enjoying it and continue to provide us with feedback. We're really excited to hear from you. And for those who want to give it a go and get their trial phase, head over there as well. It's just researchworks.academy and just log in to register for it and have an exploration. But it was pretty cool to be able to launch the Academy at the EACD as well.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the power of a good conference,
power
isn't
of a
it?
good conference,
you get invigorated with new ideas. You get to hear about things like this that are really, hot off the press and cutting edge. So it's really exciting that you got the opportunity to do that.
It was so fun.
On top of recording all of the episodes of the podcast, on top of presenting your own work, on top of getting to meet all of these new people. And
it was so fun.
I bet you had a big rest after
I really did. I feel like I've only just recovered. I just caught up with my sleep.
Yeah. But it is always really inspiring going to a conference and it's a place where you can feel confident about being up to date with the latest evidence in your field. You get to catch up with your conference buddies, people that you see every conference cycle in different places, different countries, and as well as being in different places, each conference has its own unique theme and context, which make it, really special year to year. And I think that leads us really nicely into today's episode, which is all about the upcoming AACPDM in, I'm going to say this wrong, New Orleans. I've tried to say it 5 times and it always comes out different. New Orleans.
People will let us know. Yeah.
Don't give us feedback.
No, actually don't let us know. We know.
Yeah.
Look, really looking forward to this conversation because again, whilst I was at the last conference at EACD, I met with the current first vice president of AACPDM, and we chatted about the theme of the conference, which was really captivating me, really, because I've never heard of a theme like that for a conference before. So I thought, how wonderful it would be to give an insight into this conference in a different setting with its own program once again, because there's still enough time now to register if you're thinking about going.
There you go. So today's a little taster.
Yep.
Hopefully you'll be inspired to sign up.
Yeah.
And to talk us through the themes and the program, we'd like to welcome Vice President Theresa Sukal-Moulton, Associate Professor in the Department of Physical Therapy and Human Movement Sciences at Northwestern University, and the Scientific Program Committee Co-Chair, Dr. Paige Church, who's the Director of the NICU Growth and Development Support Programs at Boston Children's Hospital. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Just love that you guys are here. And thank you for navigating the time difference because it's not a great time difference. So thank you for looking so awake and fresh.
You do. You really do.
You really do. You really do.
Take it till you make it.
So before we get into the meat of the conference, and there is lots that we want to discuss with you about the specifics of this conference and what a special one it will be, we do like to do a little informal getting to know you before we kind of get into the formalities. So the icebreaker question for the day is, what's something totally ordinary that you irrationally love?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard one.
It's a tricky one, but not when you start thinking about it. If I could give you a little prompt.
Okay, can you give me a prompt?
So last night I was making eggs for my kids because that's their favourite dinner at the moment. It's fine, it's the whole thing. But one of my kids only likes the egg white. So if it's a fried egg, she'll only eat the egg white, not the egg yolk. Definitely not.
Wow.
It's not okay.
It's not even a cholesterol
And I managed
thing.
to crack the egg and do the thing where you like mix it between the shells to get the yolk out separate from the whites, and it was so satisfying and I loved it.
It's just the way it goops down,
just
right,
goes
in one lot.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to put our guests in the spot. You guys can go first while I keep thinking of them. Theresa, do you have anything in mind?
I do, although I think that you've reframed it a little bit to be satisfying. But the thing that came to mind, I was chatting with some students about this past week that I think is ordinary for a lot of people and also a luxury, I will acknowledge, but that I really enjoy is road trips, actually. I love traveling by car. Like you can take along whatever you think you might need, some good snacks. And you have a lot more flexibility and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty ordinary. Like not a lot of people love them, but I quite like them. I think they're really nice.
That is nice. Yeah, I love that.
And secondarily, peanut butter if we're talking about food.
Oh, yeah. We talk about food a lot.
We do. It's a common theme.
Paige, what about you? What about you? Have you got something in mind?
Well, originally I was going to say peanut M&Ms because I think I eat them every day.
Yep.
Yum.
But that definitely feel very healthy or responsible. My other thing I love to kind of echo Theresa is I love bike riding.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that.
There's a satisfaction of just the wind in your hair, isn't it? It's just beautiful. So yours were
those are very wholesome.
They're very wholesome.
Yeah,
very
I like
wholesome
those.
answers. I love that. The one that pops to mind is just so silly, and it feels really silly. I should have gone first, but you know when like on the odometer and like it clicks over and it's all the same number. It's like 1111, and you're like, oh, it's so
you
good.
Like it when they're all the same.
They're all the same. And I was driving home the other day, and I had my Google Maps on, and it had, it was 11 minutes to home and 11 minutes from work, and I was like, I'm exactly in the middle. And I thought that was really amazing.
Put a flag down.
It's really silly. But I think it speaks to, as scientists, we like to have these neat, buckets.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's that, but I'll put it to that.
And if you looked up a minute later, you would have missed it.
Exactly.
So it was really serendipitous that you looked at just the right time.
That's right. And I always remember my first car.
I think it's the car equivalent.
The car one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the car equivalent of a golden birthday, I think. Do you know that one where like if you're born on January 1st, like 1/1 is your golden birthday?
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, yours are all great. Mine are so basic and home focused.
No, the egg one is good. I
my
like
other
that.
one is when you change the sheets on your bed. Like clean sheets is just great. I irrationally love clean sheets anyway.
Yes.
But when that lines up with the day that you wash your hair, and so everything is super clean when you get it, and you can put on like fresh pajamas and everything's clean. That's, chef's kiss.
Yeah, that is extraordinary. That's not ordinary.
And that's too much of an insight into how my brain works, so let's move on.
It's just laughing at us. I think there's a point in time in your life where just like those things are great. I do little star kicks when I'm in the bed when it's really smooth. I'm like, oh, I just feel so good. The sheets are so clean. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go on.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing and thanks for participating.
And thanks for putting up with us,
Yeah,
Ed.
thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Lovely.
Well, let's start talking about this conference, because when I look up the conference and I see that the theme is Celebrate Resilience, I go, wow, that is what we need right now. And so I want to start by asking you, Theresa, like, how did this theme come about? There must be a story behind it. Yeah.
It really feels of the moment, doesn't it? And it for serendipitous in many ways. We actually decide on the theme. So all of our meetings have themes, but we decided the summer of the year before.
Yeah.
So just over a year ago, we were kind of contemplating and thinking about this. And I think Paige and Dave and I got together and really thought about like brainstorming, thinking about our host city and really thinking about our members. And so we thought about the host city as a starting point. And New Orleans really is known for partying, known for celebrations, that jovial kind of musical atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Mardi Gras and some of those things, and also a deep resilience. They've really weathered a lot of real storms in New Orleans and have always kind of come back from that. And we just thought that mirrored so beautifully our colleagues and the patients and the community that we interact with as the Academy. And so we've witnessed resilience in our colleagues, in our patients, and even like within our body structures, if we think about how we react to certain interventions like exercise.
Wow.
So we thought that it was a really nice opportunity to celebrate, because we don't always pause to celebrate
That's right.
small victories and even big victories.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just looking for what's next on the list, you know, and we thought that the call to pause was also very important. So, last summer, we really didn't know what this year was going to bring. And I think since it's in maybe probably November, but certainly since January, this need for resilience has really been reiterated to our American colleagues for certain. And I think that has ripple effects to our friends around the world. And so, we're glad that that's what we went with. But maybe it's more appropriate than we even realized.
Yeah, I love that. It means a lot to a lot of people, and people take away a lot of different things from a theme like that, don't they? And I really love that you've married the theme to the venue for the conference. So to the people listening who might be thinking about, signing up and registering for the conference, New Orleans sounds like an amazing choice, and you've touched on a bit of what makes this city special. But can you just sell it to our listeners? What makes it a great setting for this conference?
Yeah, and I wish I could even tell you how to properly pronounce it. Neither Paige nor I are from New Orleans or New Orleans or however is the best way to say it. And, I didn't know a lot about it before I learned that would be the location. But it's a town and a city that I've gained so much appreciation for. I think Bourbon Street and Mardi Gras is the things that kind of come up in quick searches for it. But it's really like our membership in so many ways. The city is a rich blend of French and Spanish and African and Caribbean influences all kind of coming together in this like beautiful symphony. And I kind of think of that with our Academy as well. And our membership committee actually hosted a webinar where they highlighted some things that I was unaware of about some of the food and drink specialties of the area. Including things like the beignets and the Sazerac House is just across the street.
Oh,
yes. So for every palate and every nutritional need, they had, gluten-friendly options and vegetarian-friendly options and things like that, as well as tips on where to spot alligators in the city, which gets held Central Park. It's a possibility. I hear they are friendly. I'm not sure if I'll be keeping them out, but yeah. I mean, I don't think you can pet them, but you know, there's no alligator prices at all in the city park. But the hotel that we'll be at is really accessible to many things. It's in the French Quarter, so it's not far to go to see the water, to see many restaurants, many nightlife, and the networking event that we're hosting on the Friday night is also very easily accessible. It's just down the street and really kind of pulling in that jazz and kind of fun-loving aspect of the city.
I love it. I know a few people who've been to conferences in New Orleans before, and they say it's by far their favorite place they have gone for a conference. So
wow.
It's pretty special.
And it's a social city.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a social city. It's a city where, like, you know, everything sort of spills out into the street and it's very inclusive. And I think, you know, the Academy is a great place to make contacts and meet people and start to collaborate. And so it's a great way to sort of stir it up and do what our Academy does well, which is to be social.
Yeah. That is so very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say this, when I looked at the scientific program sort of upcoming, and it's listed as the 79th conference, like 79th annual conference, right? There's tradition and there's history, but then there's also the celebration of what has been and what's to come. Tell me a little bit about what is unique about that program this time around, and also what have you drawn on that have been great successes in previous years?
Yeah, we have a nice long history to pull from, and there's a lot of things that people kind of expect coming to this like signature event for the Academy each year.
Yeah.
And so we really aimed to uphold the high level of scientific information that's being shared and being discussed within the meeting, and lots of opportunities to have those discussions. I think those are benchmarks of the meeting that really had to be maintained. And some of the things that we've really sought to kind of grow is to be thoughtful and responsive to what, I guess, I'll say modern learners, but what we know about educational kind of expectations is things like a little bit shorter of sessions. You know, we used to have 2-hour sessions and 1-hour sessions. We've kind of streamlined that to say you can get a lot of great information and resources even within an hour, and maybe maintain attention a little bit more, and that physically moving to other spaces is important. Having a lot of information available on the app is something that we think enhances the accessibility. And also we've introduced this year kind of a crowdsourcing way to maintain access and enhance access for all participants.
Wow.
So we're introducing something this year called Access Navigators, where in addition to all the things that we do in advance to make sure that a setting is accessible to all participants, we're going to have a way to kind of fast track any solutions that are needed in real time. And so those are some of the things that we're kind of tailoring this year specifically, while upholding kind of a lot of what's worked well in the past and what people really come to expect.
It's incredible.
So great. Can I ask a bit more about the scientific program? There are a few things in there that I thought were very, very interesting. And I love talking to people who've been part of curating this, right? Because you've had this inside look at all of the work that's been coming in. How was the scientific program developed, and what are some of the things you're really excited about for both of you? Yeah.
I can maybe start with like how it was developed and some of what I'm excited about. But one of the things that I think is really great, and I feel like really privileged to have the opportunity to interact with, is that we don't choose the vast majority of it in the sense that we don't generate it, right? It comes from people that say, I have something exciting that I'm ready to share. And we then have the chance to look at that to say, does this meet the standard? And so we evaluated 600 abstracts. So Paige, Dave, and I made sure that at least one of us touched every single one of those with a dedicated scientific review committee. And so we just had the joy of picking the best of the best. We didn't actually seek out the majority of those topics, with the exception of the general sessions, I suppose. And so we just get to highlight the amazing content that people brought forward. And it's usually like hot topics, what's on their mind right now, things that they're working on really in the midst of. And what I think is really cool and what I'm always excited about is how multidisciplinary the majority of the sessions are. So there's presenters from different backgrounds, different professions, and really focusing on using audience participation and active learning within those different sessions so that you can really say, how am I going to apply this next week? Wherever setting I'm going back to, how does this become something that I can use? So,
I think it was that. And I think, you go through the abstracts and you're so in the weeds as you do it. It's like you're so deep into the scoring, which was incredibly standardized and really cool to see how much harmony there was between the scorers. Like we had very little conflict. Like everybody ranked the science in very similar ways. But then when you sit and I have photos of it, you put it all up and you start thinking about how does it get organized? What does it look like on the day it's going to happen?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where it really started to feel exciting because you could see sort of the themes that were coming together and how much content is in the themes. I mean, so I come to the American Academy as a bit of a loner because I do newborn intensive care and I do developmental medicine. And that isn't a field that has been combined traditionally because they're very, very different fields of medicine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, in the last 8 years, there's become this huge amount of abstracts that have been submitted in the land of early identification of CP and communication of early identification of CP and tools. And so to see all of that bubbling up and really becoming a home for people who do neonatal follow-up, people who do early childhood, we haven't had a conference or a home. And so that's been really, really fun. And then the plenary speakers, I'm super pumped about. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to know if any secrets are going to be divulged, but they are awesome. And I mean, other than almost stalking someone, I'm super pumped. I haven't had any criminal.
It's all above board. Yeah,
I fangirled on a couple of the plenary speakers, so I'm going to have to be held down when we get them on the podium.
Well, if that's not a hook, I don't know what is.
I'll see Paige get arrested.
And I think just to reflect on something you said earlier, Dana, you said there's a lot of orthopedic content in times that you've gone before. And that is still a very strong presence. Yeah. Orthopedic surgeons are really a big component of our membership. And it represents a very fair distribution now in the sense that it's a fraction of the whole conference. And so there is really a lot of content available in other areas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're growing.
Yeah, something for everyone.
I love that. Because I remember when I did go, I thought this is the go-to place if you want to be up to date with anything from an orthopedic perspective. It was such a go-to for that. And over the years, that has remained strong and it's just continued to grow from there. So that's just an amazing place to think about what you're going to get out of a conference. Yeah. But I love how you said that you've thought about implementation the entire way. I spoke to someone recently and they said, implementation is the buzzword at the moment. But I'm like, that's what it's all about.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
And now when you go to conferences and the program is developed in such a way that you can take what you've learned and literally put it into practice the minute you get home, there's nothing more enjoyable and satisfying than coming from a conference that way.
Yeah, and invigorating.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask about the posters? So the clinical observation, single case study posters is something that, we don't often see as a set piece on an agenda. Why did you decide to include those in particular?
Yeah, definitely. And we're not the first conference to include them, but it was something that we felt was an important thing to continue. And so the primary idea behind this is that a case study and writing that up is one of our levels of evidence. It may not be the highest one, but it's accessible to a lot of individuals. And it's really great for trainees. And I think one of the things that we try to do as an academy overall is to elevate trainees and kind of pull them in early to show where there's opportunity to engage in dialogue, to start dialogue, to get feedback from a really diverse group of people.
Yeah.
And this is a way that they can really lean in. And for many of the folks that have submitted this, we don't ask this question, so I don't know for sure, but I know that many people, this might be the first time they're submitting at a conference,
Yeah.
or it might be the opportunity for somebody who maybe doesn't have much research time or any protected research time to still contribute to our understanding of something based on what they have observed and learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we think it's important to give space for that. And posters are a great way to do that because you can actually have a dialogue and a discussion. I do love the platform sessions, like just give it to me in 7 minutes, all of the highlights, and it's cool science. But I also think there's something very special about the chance to have a dialogue with somebody at a poster.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And like you say, if that is, for a lot of people, perhaps their first exposure to a conference, it's a really nice way to immerse yourself in the environment and get to talk to people and just start having those conversations and collaborating and networking and all of those wonderful things that a conference facilitates so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to validate your own observations and to give you feedback. What have you missed? What could you have thought about differently?
That's so fantastic.
It was actually not a observation poster, but I will share this story anyways because I just think it's such a powerful representation of what can happen. I was talking to a colleague who was presenting a scientific poster, and it was basic science animal work, and she's a basic scientist, and she was talking to somebody who's a clinical psychologist. And the topic area was around pain and pain response. And the psychologist said, I think these are anxiety behaviors. You should look for that as a related thing. And I don't know all of the science, so I won't speak to that. But she said, that's a great idea. And she went back and re-reviewed the film of the animals and found that exact finding because of the nugget that someone that came to her poster with a totally different lens, a very different perspective, said, have you thought about that?
Fabulous.
And she said, no, but I should. And she did. And it was a really cool finding. So I think that those things happen way more than we could possibly document. Maybe that's a research study in itself. But
probably.
I think those are actually the really special sauce of being in the same space to have those kind of conversations.
I love that. And the other thing that I saw is the educational sessions. Education sessions, what makes up an education session? What would we expect if we were to go to one?
Yeah, so we have quite a number of them to choose from. So there's 76 in total over the course of the day. So I would say a topic for everybody, first of all.
Great.
But it's an hour-long session. And so it's a bit of a deeper dive into a topic. I think, as I mentioned before, they're typically multidisciplinary, several presenters, and often representation from the community as well. So people with lived experience contributing to those. And there's specific learning objectives associated with it, which are in the program. So you can actually say, what will I get from this? And you can kind of help you to make your decision of those 76. And I think they're a really great opportunity to get a lot of resources. So it's about getting a bit of information about the topic, but also a lot of other follow-up things that you can do. Because you can't learn about a deep dive in an hour, but you can know what else to follow up on. You get a couple pearls and some follow-on homework about how to enrich your knowledge in that area.
Yeah, that's so great.
And I think
they're foundational. I mean, I remember just going to one as a new Academy member and being like, oh my God, these are the absolute best. Because if you're a new learner, it's a great way to get a foundation and then you build on it.
Yeah.
But if you don't ever have that foundation, it's really hard to catch all the science that you're meeting.
Yeah.
So,
that's a wonderful way.
It gives you scaffolding to take on more information, I think. Yeah, I think that.
That's so great. And Paige, I mean, when I looked through the education sessions, I saw that you are presenting on a topic that I have been so interested in and would love to talk to you more about it.
Deep dives,
Exactly. Well, let's go into this, because now that we've got you here, Paige, I know you're presenting this with some other presenters too, but it's the topic of time toxicity.
Yeah. So, Paige, your talk obviously is titled The Invisible Burden of Time Toxicity. How can we minimize this side effect? So maybe you could start by introducing this topic and explaining to us what time toxicity actually is.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I have to give credit where credit's due because this is not my idea. I thought it was brilliant. And this is one of those cool things from the Academy. I was walking and talking to my colleague Dave Brumberg, and he started talking about this thing he was working on with his other colleague, Nathan Rosenberg. And so the two of them came up with this. Time toxicity describes a concept that has really come out of the oncology literature or the cancer population, where they have looked at the commodity of time. And in their population, that commodity of time is by the definition of the disease, very limited. And they then look at the impact of care decisions on that commodity of time. So he may give you a drug regimen that might give you 5 years of living, but you're going to have to be in the hospital every day. Versus he may give you this other drug regimen and you're going to live for 3 years, but you're only going to come in twice a month. So it's looking at how do you define your time? Where do you put a value to it? And what is the impact of that treatment on what time you have? And so Dave and Nathan brilliantly said, this isn't just a topic for people with cancer. This is an important topic for anybody who interfaces with the medical system at some frequency that is greater than average. And that would count for children who have cerebral palsy or developmental disabilities. And so really what Dave and Nathan have done is they've taken this concept and redefined it to cerebral palsy and developmental disabilities. And so the educational session is really on education around time as a commodity. And it's a universally, like nobody has more. We all have the same amount. We have 24 hours in a day. But how do we examine that commodity of time when we discuss interactions with the healthcare system? So an example would be, if you're going to have a summer vacation and you're going to spend an hour of every week in physical therapy, but that really translates to an hour of driving, an hour of therapy, and then an hour of driving home. That's 3 hours for that child every week. What does that mean for the family? What does that mean for the child? What does that take the child from? And what does that therapy give the child? And how do you take that whole equation and examine it? And is it something that the child and the family say, this is actually something we think is a good use of our time? Or, you know what, this is actually going to take me away from the things I think are really important to me. And that might be time with my friends and time playing sports. And is that something that, and so then is that toxic time? Is that time that's not being well used? Time away from siblings. And so there is no universal answer of what's toxic time, but it's learning to be aware of it and actually endorsing the idea that this is a very important variable that has been largely not attended to in academic research around developmental disabilities. We will look at the impact, we'll look at what it affects to the angles or the mobility, but nobody really is adding, what does it do to the time? What's the time variable associated with this?
I feel
and we think that's important.
For sure.
So important. That was gold.
And I feel like we dance around it a bit in some of the work that we do, we talk a lot about, not just doing therapy for the sake of doing therapy. And I feel like obviously the whole concept of evidence-based practice ties into this as well. If you're spending time doing something, you want that to be aligned with the best available evidence, right? But this is this just puts a whole language around it, which makes it really powerful, I think, for families to advocate for themselves as well.
Yeah. And for us to be more aware of being attentive to it as a variable that's important to discuss.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. Dave and Nathan are working on a paper really, really describing it beautifully. So it's coming.
Gosh,
Amazing.
That is fantastic. Because there's so many things that we do talk about a lot, but not specifically. And that's why, when Peter Rosenbaum came up and Young Gorda came up with the F words.
Yes.
And, we kind of need to think about these other elements. And that's become part of our language. And Anna Novak spoke about the grey area of harm. And the grey area of harm is, it's the time element. But if we can put our finger on it more, we can, because we have a lot to do with it. Our recommendations can send someone down a path if we're not careful. A fleeting comment could. Parents just want the best for their kids, so they'll do whatever it takes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And understanding what they're giving up in order to do that as well is so important, isn't it?
Yes. That is so vital. Gosh, that is going to be an exciting talk. Thanks for giving us an insight into that, Paige, because I'll be thinking about that for a little bit now in terms of the terminology.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I suppose that was a beautiful little taster of I feel like lots of what's to come in the conference. And I have seen, looking through some of the pre-conference work, there's some familiar names in that space as well, guests that we've previously had on the podcast.
Yes.
So if anyone's kind of on the fence about signing up for it, I really encourage you to go and have a look at the information that's available on the website. And maybe Paige and Theresa, you could let everyone know, the final details about the conference. Can people still register? Where can they go? What should they do?
Yeah.
Register.
Absolutely. So, so aacpdm.org. There's a link on there for the annual conference. So registration is certainly still available. You could come as much as on the day of, although I would encourage you to register in advance. You can do that on the website. And you can even book your hotel through the same registration system. So it's kind of quite nice and compact all together, which is great. So yes, we would love to see you there. Anybody listening, we'd love to connect and host you.
Oh, fabulous. Paige, any final remarks from you?
And it's going to be fantastic. It's such a good conference. It really is. Yeah. Great way to meet people. It's a great venue. The places we have chosen for our social events are going to be really exciting and fun. The city is great. It's a win-win on all levels.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And if I can just say one other thing, I recognize that many people are managing some very difficult and heavy things right now. I think there's a lot in the world that is challenging. And I think connections and togetherness and facing challenges together, I think is really the intervention for that in many ways. This idea around self-care to support your own resilience and boost your morale. I feel like attendance at events like these is a way to get a real injection of refocus on why you're doing something and get a bit of energy and get some new ideas to navigate some of these hard times. Like we are going through some tough stuff right now. Yeah. And it's a way to build our resilience for the year ahead. And so we'd love to share in that with anybody who has capacity to join us.
Yeah.
A perfect entry point. Like if you haven't been to a conference before, I remember my first conference and, it can seem a bit daunting to start off with, but when you get there, you're just like, whoa, look at all these people that are doing work in an area that I thought I was just doing on my own. Yeah. And people are actually so much more friendly than you think as well. And you can go up to people at posters and literally just have a chat. And it's actually it's beautiful. And the fact that the theme is about resilience, it's already set for that. So if it's your first experience, it's the one to pick.
It is. I think we said it before, but I find personally conferences so invigorating. You go and you spend time with people who you have common values and common experiences, and you're all kind of working towards common goals, and you all bring such different things to it that it really does energize you for,
really does.
You leave that conference and you feel invigorated and energized for the work that's to come. And it's such a nice little boost.
It really is. Yeah. And we're not just thinking about the clinical here, we're thinking about your communication. You're thinking about you as a whole as well. Like it's very, very all-encompassing. And, I know I've just come back from conference and really changed things and tweaked things and, things are just adjusted. And it's just those fine adjustments because if you're keeping up to date all the time, you're not having to make massive changes to your practice, but you're constantly just adjusting and that's very fulfilling in a career.
Very. So, and what better place to do it than New Orleans?
Oh, sounds amazing.
I'm sure we'll get lots of feedback on how we've said that throughout the episode.
Yeah, I think we will. Yes. Yeah. And the beignets and whether you can actually walk an alligator down the street. I think I've seen videos of that.
I feel like that's all true.
It's a thing. Write in, put it in the chat, let us know about it. So thank you so very much, Theresa and Paige, for your time this evening. Quite late your time now to speak with us about this. Yeah, thank you.
We're grateful that you had us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, just loved the chat. So to all of our listeners, we'll put links for the Academy on our website so you can look for more information, have a look at the scientific program and just reach out if you've got any questions about it.
Yeah. But for everyone going, have an amazing time. For everyone thinking about going, do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Yes.
Come out there and say hello. We love to talk to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to all of our listeners, thanks for joining us back again for the second half of season 5. There's so much more to come. Great content, great episodes with some pretty incredible speakers already. So let's finish the year strong. But to all of our listeners, have a great day. We'll talk to you all again really soon. Bye.